let's dive into one of the most haunting books you'll ever read, William Golding's Lord of the Flies. It kind of tricks you at first, right? You think you're getting a classic adventure story, boys on a beautiful island. But what it really is a chilling look at what happens when the thin veneer of civilization gets stripped away.
So imagine this. A plane crashes, and a bunch of British schoolboys find themselves on a perfect tropical island. No adults, no rules. It sounds like a dream come true. But Golding immediately flips that idea on its head and asks a really terrifying question. What happens to people when there's nobody there to tell them what to do?
Now, to really get what Golding was up to, you have to know about this other book he was arguing with. See, 100 years earlier, there was this popular adventure novel called The Coral Island. In that story, the British boys are heroes who easily conquer the island and fight off pirates. Golding basically took that exact premise and said, nope, you've got it all wrong. He argued that the real danger isn't some monster out there, it's the monster we carry inside us. Okay, so how does he build this chilling argument? Well, he does it with his characters. These kids aren't just kids. They are living, breathing symbols for the different forces that are always at war inside our own minds and inside our societies.
This is where it gets really brilliant. Golding basically maps out a whole psychological and political system using just 4 boys. You've got Ralph, who's elected leader. He's all about democracy, rules, and keeping the signal fire going. He's the rational part of us, the ego. Then you have Jack. He couldn't care less about rules. He just wants to hunt and have power. He's that primal, instinctual part of us, the id. And poor Piggy, with his glasses and his intellect, he's the voice of reason and science, the superego. And then there's Simon. He's kind of the wild card, the mystic who has this deeper, spiritual understanding of what's really going on.
And it's not just the boys who go through a transformation. The island itself, the setting for all of this, isn't just a pretty backdrop. It's almost like a character in its own right, and it physically changes to reflect the chaos and darkness growing inside the boys. You know, when they first arrive, the island is literally paradise. It's an Eden. It's a place for adventure, for play. Life is so good that they don't even need to think about hope, because there's nothing to worry about. But then, fear starts to creep in. And as it does, the island itself starts to feel different. It becomes menacing. The jungle isn't just trees anymore, it's full of shadows. And that physical darkness becomes a perfect mirror for the fear and paranoia that's taking over their minds. And this is where it all ends up. By the end of the book, in their mad hunt for Ralph, the boys set their own paradise on fire. The island becomes a literal inferno, a burning hell, the perfect visual for the complete and total savagery that has consumed them. So this growing fear and darkness brings us right to the heart of the story, to the central mystery that absolutely terrifies these boys and drives the whole plot forward, the beast. At first, it's just a nightmare, a rumor about some monster lurking in the jungle. But the fear just grows and grows until the boys are convinced there's a real creature out there hunting them. But Golding keeps pushing us, the readers, to ask a different question. What if the beast isn't what they think it is? And it's Simon, the quiet observer, who finally dares to say it. He's the one who suggests the terrifying possibility that the monster they're all so afraid of isn't some creature in the woods. Maybe, just maybe, it's them. And that horrifying thought is confirmed in one of the creepiest scenes in all of literature. The Lord of the Flies, which is literally a pig's head swarming with flies on a stick, seems to speak to Simon, and it tells him flat out, you can't hunt me, you can't kill me, because I am a part of you. The evil isn't outside, it's inside. And there it is. That's Golding's entire thesis in a nutshell. Having seen the absolute horrors of World War II, he came to a pretty dark conclusion. He believed that evil isn't some outside force that attacks us. Nope. He thought that humanity creates evil as naturally, as instinctively, as a bee makes honey. It's just what we do. So, the book barrels towards its climax, and just when you think things can't get any worse, a rescuer appears on the beach. But this is not the happy ending you might expect. This is Golding's final, devastating gut punch. Just as Ralph is running for his life, about to be killed by the other boys, a naval officer just appears. Suddenly the hunt stops. The nightmare is over. It seems like the grown-ups are back, and civilization has been restored. But here's the crushing irony. The officer who rescues them is a soldier. He's come from his warship, which is out on the ocean fighting a massive global war. The so-called civilized adult world is doing the exact same thing the boys were doing, just with bigger, more destructive toys. The island wasn't some strange exception. It was a perfect miniature of the entire world. And that's why, at the very end, Ralph just collapses and weeps. He's not crying because he's saved. He's crying for everything that's been lost. His innocence, his friends like Piggy, and this awful, new understanding of the darkness that lives inside the human heart. Which leaves us with the book's final, incredibly tough question. If Golding is right, if all of society's problems, our wars, our cruelty, if it all just comes from a fundamental flaw inside of us, can we ever really be saved from ourselves? What do you think?